My name is Mona Shah, so I will be moderating today for this panel discussion. So thanks to all of you who could join. We're representing Yoga Bharti, which is a nonprofit organization here in the Cupertino area. If you are local, you know where that is. I am so excited here to be doing this with these amazing group of teenagers. I think the idea is that what we would like to share, and probably hopefully you get out of it, is to get an understanding of what it is we have to be able to offer as an organization. And hopefully you can see that also through these teens and what they have learned themselves, how much perhaps they've benefited and grown from this experience, the benefits of yoga, and the ability for yoga to help teens, especially in this time, which is it's a different time right now, and I think the teens can attest to that as well. So I think to get an idea of how their experiences as students, as yoga teachers now, because they've all gone through this training, what has that done for them? And I think for those of you who are interested for your kids, or kids, if you're interested yourselves, what can you get out of joining a practice such as this, or also going through the training? So we're going to start this webinar with, of course, we're going to start with the introductions. We have 5 teens representing from all over this area, different experiences, different places they go to school. Fundamentally, they all are dealing with similar things. So, so you'll get an idea. So let's start off with all of you starting off, the teenagers who are representing us here at Yoga Bharti. If you could please give us your name, your age, your grade, where you go to school, so people get an idea of who they're with, please. You want to start?
Hello, my name is Vanshika, and I'm a rising senior at Monte Vista High School. And oh yes, I'm a 12th grader, yes.
Great. And you've gone through yoga teacher training?
So I've done the YYTT course, and I'm in progress with the YTT course. So I finished the youth yoga teacher training, and I'm currently doing the adult yoga teacher training course.
Very nice. Avni?
Hi, I'm Avni. I'm 17. I'm a rising senior at Palo Alto High School, or Pali. And again, yeah, I finished the YYTT course.
Nice. Sahasra?
Hello, my name is Sahasra, and I'm a rising junior at Branham High School. I'm 15, and I'm in progress of finishing my YYTT course.
Very nice. Sowmya?
Hi, my name is Sowmya. I'm 15, and I'm a rising junior at Amador Valley High School. And right now I'm finishing up my youth yoga teacher training. And yeah.
Okay. And Shiv?
I'm Shiv. I finished my 10th grade year. I'm going to be going into my 11th grade year. I completed my youth yoga training set, and I completed my yoga teacher training. So, oh, I missed the school, my bad. I go to Samuel Academy.
Wonderful. So all of these teenagers have put in a lot of effort to go through this training. So, and you know, many times we think yoga is mostly asanas, you know, the practices, asanas, pranayam, kriyas and such, but there's also a lot of philosophy that has gone behind their training, which brings a good understanding to what it is we do. It's a lot of authentic kind of yoga training that we do with the organization. And in addition to the classroom training, they have to do shadow hours, practicum hours to be able to teach also. So you can see through the entire process, they do a lot of growth and learning. And I think part of the panel discussion today is also for you all to see what can this do for the general teen population? And it's coming straight from what we see has happened through these teens through this training course and beyond. So I think I'm going to throw out a question to all the panel members, if you can chime in, for how has yoga benefited you? Let's start with that.
I don't think I can pinpoint like one thing that yoga has benefited me for. I think it has changed me like so dynamically and in so many different dimensions that like it's changed my personality, it's changed my perspective, it's changed my lifestyle. Like I know as a junior, like last year I was a junior, and junior year is supposed to be like the hardest year of high school. And I really feel that like it went so smoothly just because of yoga. And that's not just because it helped me with my studies, but it helped me as a person as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Kind of backpacking, like piggybacking off of that. Same, I was a junior last year, and I heard like all of these horror stories, like junior is supposed to be the hardest, like you're gonna feel so stressed. But last summer I did the youth yoga teacher training course, and by employing a lot of the learnings and stuff like that into just kind of my everyday throughout junior year, I was able to regulate my nervous system and like overall set myself up a lot better, not just like academically and like what I put out, but also emotionally, I felt a lot better on the inside.
Adding on to what Avni said, I think for me, I feel more confident going into my junior year, knowing that I have yoga and meditation to always rely on stressful days. And it's growing up, I had a lot of medical conditions, so yoga has also very much benefited me with that, both emotionally and physically. So, yeah.
Yeah, yoga has definitely helped me manage my stress and also calm down and clear my head. And in addition to that, it has also helped me as a person become more, being able to become more balanced as a whole.
Very nice. Shiv.
There we go. Okay. I was clicking the button and it didn't want to work. I've had yoga around me for a very long time. I've done itsy bitsy yoga since I was like a little toddler baby, from when I was a preemie. So I don't know. It's like it's been a part of my life for a really long time. So it's not like a big like ooh-ah thing for me. It's like part of my routine. It's a very solid thing that I've had. It's been a very consistent thing for me.
So I think with that, I think the takeaways also is yoga, it's something that doesn't go away. Is once you do learn it and you learn the fundamentals and the benefits, you feel the benefits, it's not going anywhere, and it becomes a part of our lives, right? Our lifestyle. And there's really nothing that needs to change externally. So everything around us is what it is. The pressures are real, the kids feel it. I think it's all there. It's just, I think the idea is the response to what is around us becomes much different. So one of the fundamental things that we say is stress is not the situation. Stress is the response to the situation that's in front of us. So the goal is we want to be able to employ these different techniques physically, breath work, meditation, put some notions that maybe have been that have been either trained or just inherent, and put a little bit of a switch and come up with a system that works even off the mat that allows us to deal with this, whatever is around us pretty much. And that's a lifelong skill and just keeps on building. So I've been in yoga for a very long time, and I've been with Yoga Bharti since 2012, and I'm still learning. I'm just at the tip of the iceberg, but I keep getting stronger. So I think hopefully these teens can say they really are at the tip of the iceberg, and the ability to even get that glimpse to what it has benefits to with them now at this age And if they continue on, this is going to go on for it's a lifelong change for the positive. So I think the next thing that we would like to do is we've got a couple of nice accounts of what it has done. I guess a couple of stories that we wanted to share, the teens wanted to share as well. So Shiv, we can even start with you. Would you like to
Sure.
share?
So, as I said earlier about me having yoga from a young age, from when I was a little toddler, I was born 3 months early as a preemie, weighing 757 grams. And my mom began doing yoga with me as like a thing we could both do when I was a toddler, as soon as I left the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit. Now, I've been told that my mom put me into yoga asanas because I'm a toddler. I can't really do much here. By moving my body into asanas such as Apanasana to improve my digestion. Now, my mom and I, we did itsy bitsy yoga and brought that to all the little kiddos. And then as I continued through school, she brought it and we brought it into everything from when I did Montessori as a little kid all the way now to being in high school. We're still keeping on that track. And now that I've completed all of my youth yoga teacher training and yoga teacher training stuff, I am now going back. I used to do occupational therapy, and I have now gone back to that place where I did it, and I'm doing classes for the kiddos there. So it's safe to say that, and I also participate in the Yoga Reaches Out fundraiser, which is put on by Boston Children's Hospital, which is one of the hospitals I was cared for at. So it's safe to say, I think, as I said earlier, that yoga has been a very consistent and constant part of my life.
Is it you who sent out the message about the yearbook?
That was most likely my mom. Yes.
Good. So if I saw that clearly, I think there's also yoga in your school.
Yes, my mom does that.
Very nice. So the ability to share and spread, and then teach that there is a different way of approaching what is in front of us. Thank you very much. What a story, actually. And I think a great role model to say, hey, just make it a part of our life. Yes, Anish, you have a question? No.
No.
Okay, good. So another story of health is Sahasra. Would you like to share?
So I've always had an interesting relationship with yoga. Growing up, my parents had yoga part of their lifestyle, but before joining Yoga Bharati, I've always looked at yoga as one of the many other methods my parents have implemented to fix my medical condition. To back up a little, in 7th grade, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, which is an autoimmune disease, meaning that my thyroid gland produced excessive hormones. I didn't really understand what was going on with me because my eyes would constantly be bulging out. I would eat a lot, I was underweight, and we never really put the pieces together. During this time, it was emotionally overwhelming for me to process that I went from being a perfectly healthy kid to a person who's taking over 10 pills a day and having in and out hospital visits. As time passed, we tried Ayurveda and yoga specifically to cure me, but nothing seemed to stick to me. I took a break from everything and I just wanted to focus on myself. During the pandemic, a friend approached me about Yoga Bharati, and honestly, I was skeptical of doing it at first, but I knew I wasn't alone. I didn't know what to expect going into this program, and the first day was, to be honest, kind of really hard for me, given that I had done no physical exercise for years, and my main difficulty during this course was my mind. Initially, starting the course, I was never calm and patient. So for me to do all the pranayama and the meditation was especially hard for me since I would lose focus easily. In general, I also have a very fast-paced nature, which very much clashed with the slow, deliberate pace of yoga. Though these difficulties arose, I noticed that some classes were much different than others based on the mindset I went with. When my mind was encouraged and calm, I noticed that I could do most of the poses I never thought I could do. Even after the course, I still continue to do at least 10 minutes of meditation in the morning as a routine to help keep my mindset ready for the day. Whether I know it or not, those difficulties made me stronger, inspired, and pushed myself to do further not only in yoga, but in other fields as well. Whether or not it might be true, yoga definitely helped me become an emotionally and physically healthier person, while also helping me get rid of my hyperthyroidism. So, if I were to condense all of this, it would be that the difficulties that you face is only one part. It's how you deal and overcome with them to make you a better person. So, that's my story with yoga.
Very nice. Thank you very much. And so with, I think we talk a lot right now. I've been talking a lot about the emotional benefits, but the physical benefits are very real as well, right? So, anywhere from helping with digestive issues, with dealing with respiratory issues or hyperthyroidism, so metabolic stuff that might be out there, I think there is a balance that happens in the mind and the body. And beyond. So I think this is a great account of that. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We've asked the panel members to be able to give a little bit more on specific ways that yoga has benefited them. And also yoga teacher training has benefited for them as well. And I'm just going to clarify that there is youth yoga teacher training that is for up to 16, and it can be even through teenage years as well. But we also have regular yoga teacher training, which is 16 plus. So we kind of span both of those, yoga teacher training and youth yoga teacher training in the mid-teen years. Let's go on. We'll start with some of the questions that the panel have prepared all of us for as well. So we'll start with Shiv, and we'll start with how has yoga helped with self-confidence, self-awareness, and how can it help us from seeking validation from others?
All right, so I'm going to split this up into two bits, into the self-confidence bit and then the seeking validation bit. So for self-confidence, self-confidence in my personal yoga practice is built from having a strong foundation in values. So for example, in yoga, we learn about the yamas and niyamas. And if you go into this and you decide to join all this, you too will learn about yamas and niyamas. Anywho, ahimsa is one of the yamas, which means non-harming or non-violence or protecting life. Now, this gives me confidence because I don't feel the pressure of competition or of comparing myself to other people. Now, for the validation bit, in yoga, I find the practice of tapas through the discipline of meditation, counterbalancing a need for any external validation. See, because in meditation, I experience inner validation or introspection, if you will. And for me, that looks like meditating twice a day, once in the morning before I go off to school, and then when I return from school, meditating again.
Excellent. Thank you for including how you practice yourself in order to get there. That's huge. Next question is for Vanchika. Is how does yoga help with the ability to handle pressures, whether they're parental pressures, school pressures, peer pressure? Can you help us with that part?
I think doing yoga is like something unique, and it has led me to understand that I can be different from my peers in like a good way as well. The benefits that yoga has like brought to me physically and mentally has allowed me to see the positive in uniqueness and differences. And now I'm very easily able to say like, no, thanks, that's not for me. It's all good from like that aspect of peer pressure. And I've kind of understood that everyone is different in their own ways, and that's okay. And I've also grown more aware and diligent from the meditation and asanas that have been introduced into my life through yoga. And I feel like I'm more disciplined even with my friends, and I'm able to make better decisions and not get carried away with like fluctuations of that teenage like mental mind and like hormones. And I feel like lastly, academic peer pressure, which I feel like a lot of us face during our high school years. And I personally feel this is the one that really hit me the most before yoga was introduced into my life. I always felt like I was a hardworking student, but like there were so many of my other peers who were getting through like tests and academics so easily, and it was just like natural talent alone. And I was struggling and just to like be at par with them. And I think yoga overall just taught me how to stay positive and how to persevere through those adversities. And I would really like to mention how like the YYTT, the Youth Yoga Teacher Training course, covers topics on yoga philosophy, which I found very, very beneficial to apply to my lifestyle, and how like having that optimistic perspective and a proper approach to face problems, because problems will hit everyone, just how you approach them. And it's really taught me how to get through those problems without impacting my mental and physical state negatively. And just overall, I just feel like I mentioned before, things have just gotten easier. And it's not because I don't face problems, it's just that I know how to like act upon them. And then I feel for parental pressure. I am very fortunate to say that I have parents who are very supportive and understanding, but I can't say there haven't been moments in my life where I felt that like there's some pressure expectations, and I feel like that's natural for like all of us, whether that be for school or for college. And I think yoga has really given me the ability to be more empathetic towards others and understand that they're also people. They also have their wishes and desires and expectations, and they are well wishers for us. And I feel like that's just changed my perspective on how I look at what they want. And I feel like now our relationship, we've really created this perfect balance of independence and that like parental guidance more than that like pressure, I would say. I feel like now it's more like parental guidance. And just overall, I've learned to trust myself more and have confidence on my decisions. And I'm able to discuss with my parents instead of just accept what they really want.
Very nice. So I think through this also, I think fundamentally is the ability to have that internal compass. And it gets hard out there, right? With all of the external pressures, everyone's saying stuff, information overload, social media, peer pressure, parental pressure, academic pressure. It's a lot, guys. So it's there's nothing denying that. But what you want to do is probably build that internal awareness, first of all. So when you start feeling your heart rate increasing and your breath pace increasing, that's your first indication that there's something that needs to come back. And we have tools. That's the thing. We do have tools to be able to bring ourselves back. Now, when we're calm is when we can bring understanding to what's around us. And fundamentally, it's not about what is out there. It's our response to it that's going to keep us healthy. The path is not straight. The pressures are in the air. They are what they are, but there is a path for everybody. And what is your path? And each person's path looks a little bit different, and it's okay. Yes, we do get what we call pressures, but we can also look at it, like Vanshika has said, also as some guidelines. So how do we balance that from understanding what part feels like I don't want to do it because it's pressure, versus let some of this information also be guidance for me without feeling like I have to be a certain person. And there goes that external validation also. So you just become way more rooted in who you are, your confidence goes up, more awareness, right? And it starts with the emotional imbalance, which we bring back to balance. Very nice. Thank you, Vanshika. And next, we are going to go with Sowmya. So Sowmya's got a little bit of an interesting take on the benefits as well. And Sowmya, I think we wanted to discuss how your communication skills might have changed with the training course.
Yes, so something that's sort of unique to going through the yoga teacher training experience, rather than, starting yoga practice on your own, is definitely communication skills. And I can really see how much I progressed from before I started yoga teacher training and, teaching classes to now, where my communication skills have definitely grown. And as you all might know, communication skills are definitely becoming more and more important in the world right now, especially with AI, who are able to replicate a lot of the things that humans can do. Communication, the sort of human connection that it forms, and being able to sort of adapt, and all those different skills involved in effective communication are becoming more and more important. And so I think that's one of the really benefits of this course, in addition to the ones that, of course, were mentioned earlier. So in a yoga class, I think there's some three main types of communication that goes on. Firstly, it's just the direct instructions, which it's a kind of obvious one, right? Like trying to give clear, concise instructions, setting the boundaries, letting them know what to do, what not to do. Also explaining the difference between pushing yourself and holding a stretch, but also pushing yourself versus like, oh, you're straining yourself too much, you're gonna get hurt, something like that. And so we practice this a lot in the training part, like the instruction part that we get. We get a lot of practice in how to deliver these instructions, how to organize it in a natural flow, how to sort of adapt it based on who is teaching and what they might understand, what they might not understand. And so that's definitely one of the skills we learn. And that's the skill that you mainly do in a lot of the virtual classes, from what I've seen. It's more like mostly just directly teaching them. However, recently when I taught at an after-school center, which was in person, there were 3 levels. There was the kindergarten level, there was a first and second grade level, and there was an upper elementary and middle school level. So teaching these different age groups in person was completely different experience, because now there's 2 other components that come into the communication. So yeah, the other component is like leading them. So when you're there and there's all these kids together, you practice how to deliver good instructions. But when you get there, all the kids sort of know each other a little bit, and they can influence each other. So one kid will start grumbling, so the next kid would start grumbling, or some kids would just are not interested in doing, and so they sort of just slack off. Some kids just trying to talk to each other, even when I'm talking, and trying to give some instructions. And so there's all these different dynamics that go on, like when you actually get there. And so it's only through that, like actually facing that and being able to lead them through the experience that we want to give them, to help them realize the benefits of yoga. So only when we lead them through that experience, you can sort of develop the skills on how to, manage a large group of kids who interact with each other and cause all these domino effects. And thirdly, also teaching these classes has also made me think more about what's the goal with little kids. Because little kids, it's quite ambitious to want them to, do yoga like every single day. Like trying to impart that is quite difficult, especially when we don't like know them and we have no way of checking up on them every single day. So through a weekly class, the best thing, in my opinion, and what I've seen, is to inspire them to have the yogic mindset towards life and towards their activities. So teaching them how to approach different situations and some techniques to calm down, or just take some deep breaths. I think that's one of the things that they could take away. But if you just tell them you should take away these things from the class, they're not going to listen. So it's sort of an indirect communication with them, also sort of verbal, nonverbal. And so also we have to be able to connect with them. That was also one of the things that I learned and developed, And so being able to connect with them and impart something to them that hopefully they take outside the classes was also a skill involved in education.
Awesome. So like Sowmya said, the communication connection is definitely a skill that's needed and also learned, because some of this you just get when you're doing it, right? You learn the benefits of it while you're doing it. And out of that also comes leadership skills. You've got a classroom of yoga students looking to you, and how do you lead them through the class successfully? I mean, you go in with that mindset of, I want to impart this knowledge, and I want them to get out of the class feeling like this, thinking like this. Now that entire 1 hour of class, the focus is to try to extract that. And like Sowmya said, and especially with the younger ones, it's being able to have them listen. So communication skills are huge. Leadership skills are huge. Another thing that's important going into these classes is compassion, right? Having the ability to understand and meet everybody where they're at. That is a skill that is so important nowadays. We become extremely focused on logistics and numbers, and you know, it's very logical scheduled day for most of us. So to take a step back and put feeling into it, connect with others that way, bring in leadership, communication skills. There's so much that comes out of this, and which is lifelong lessons. So thank you very much, Sowmya, for that. And so next question is, the definition of success. That's always a good one. Does that change through yoga? Does that change through yoga teaching? And Avni will chime in on what does success mean?
Yeah. Okay. I would say the biggest thing that yoga has done to affect my idea of what does success mean to me is to first and foremost define success to me before it's even changed it. Like, it helped me define it. So, because before I began practicing, before I began learning through the YYTT course, I didn't know my own definition of success. It was very clouded by what other people said, maybe what I saw them doing. And there's a lot of judgment also of other people's success. We hear it all around us. So I would tune in a lot to what other people were saying. And I kind of adopted that definition as my own. Now, yoga helped me turn inwards through the meditation and the learnings, and discover that maybe success for me isn't just defined by my accolades or things that will appeal to my pride or increase my position in the eyes of other people. And it helped me determine that success to me comes from being content. It comes from learning, it comes from giving back, it comes from trying my best every day. And that's something that is absolutely invaluable, because the entire purpose of learning and growing is to reach this idea of success. But how can you even do that if you don't know what success means to you? In order to have a goal in mind, you have to determine what you're doing it for. You have to determine like why it means so much to you, and that's what will make you want to reach it. So that's been absolutely invaluable to me. Now, on top of that, yoga has also helped me shift my definition of success to align with the yamas and yamas. And I found that before, even though, yes, I say that success doesn't come from accolades, there's still always a small part of me in the back of my mind that was maybe stuck from what I heard other people saying. Success comes from making a lot of money. Success comes from getting a certain number of promotions. But I wasn't fully aligned with the idea that success is only from happiness, and it's only from giving back and stuff like that. What yoga helped me do is it helped me shift my perspective such that that small voice in the back of my head, it at this point is gone completely. And I feel now that I'm living more for myself than I ever have before, specifically in such a high pressure environment, specifically in such like a high pressure high school situation or with parents and stuff like that. I am okay with who I am now because my definition of success is only mine. Like it's no one else's. It doesn't belong to anyone else. And I also have become more and more content, and I feel success in the process. A lot of people go through life like, oh, I'll feel successful once I reach this final destination. Like, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to accomplish in order to reach it. And that's good. It's important to have goals and it's important to have things that you're working towards. But for me, I've learned a lot more about feeling success exactly where I'm at right now. Like through the process, I can also feel content and I can also feel happy and I can feel good about myself and I can learn because I don't have to reach a final destination in order to feel successful.
Thank you. Very nice. So I think that's good. And I think a lot of that is that self-awareness every moment that we live in what feels right? And what feels right to each of us is different. And the definition of success, I think, is different for each person, but we want to be careful that we understand what part is defined by the external world and what part of it is us, because each one of us has a different path. And there are so many. One of the things we try to teach teens in particular is, and adults, as a matter of fact, it's all about our inputs. It's how we go through life. It's how we tackle problems. How do we study for a test? Is it really about that end grade at the end of the day? Or is it our way of getting through the material? Is it our way of being able to put in the right integrity in how we do things? We learn to learn. We learn to be able to, is it our character as we're going through the process? Are we stable, steady, calm as we're learning and we're growing? Or is it really just about that final thing, which backfires sometimes, right? We see a lot of anxiety when it comes to getting to that final grade. Well, what happens to all the character when you're going to it? The character actually speaks louder than that final grade, because you'll see as you get older, that character is what stays with you. So these are the things we try to impart, right? And exactly, the happiness is now, and success is now, and where we all are right now is perfect. That end goals are good. Goals are not defining of us. Goals are what we try to reach, and it's the journey which matters as we get there. It's the day-to-day journey and how we approach it that matters. How do we respond to stress? How do we change our response to stress? These are all growth factors for us, right? And you guys all have to do this a little bit earlier than all of us adults did. But there is a way. There are tools, there are tricks of the trade, there are age-old guidelines, these yamas, niyamas, which were defined by Patanjali. The way we externally approach life, how we internally approach, right? Those have not changed. Those are 5,000-year-old guidelines, which are still true, right? Nonviolence, not stealing, telling the truth, not being possessive. There are 5 yamas and 5 niyamas, and we go through those in detail as well as part of our philosophy that we impart. So thank you, Avni. You can see how that question and how the approach to that answer is very different than our notion of we have to get on the mat and perform a position, a pose, an asana, right? And let's see the teachings of what do we do when we are in a pose. We're doing work. We're actually doing work. We are actively doing something when we are in an asana. But what do? We find our awareness when we're there. We see what stimulation do we feel in our bodies. Now, how do we approach our asanas? We have to make sure, Sthira and Sukham, we want to make sure we're calm, but we're strong while we're doing work, because that's when our mind is the calmest and we're going to get the most out of it. That efficiency comes out of that. The most work that we get out of the asana comes when we are relaxed, but we're still strong while we're doing that. So these are mental shifts that happen as we go through this, as we go through yoga, as we go through the training to go beyond and become teachers. Nice job. Anybody have anything else to add? Panel, nice job. Very good.
I also wanted to introduce Nandini to everyone. She's Shiv's mom, but she's known as Shiv's mom here, but she's also known for much more. She's a yoga teacher. She's a yoga therapist. She's a CIYT, and she has been into healthcare system, and she includes yoga into the healthcare as well and into the schools. And she will also be one of the teachers for the or guide teachers. We don't just have youth teach, we also want the adult teachers around. So she is going to be our adult teacher along with other adult teachers, including Mona. Please go ahead, Nandini.
Thank you, Mona ji and Ashwini ji. I wanted to share from the perspective of the parent, having Shiv go through both youth yoga teacher training and the 200-hour yoga teacher training, that it is a phenomenal training. I've done my 200-hour, 300-hour, and the CIYT. And I was blown away by the material, the content, the depth of the philosophy and the teachings that our youth were receiving, both in the youth and of course in the 200-hour. I don't think I got that level of training in my trainings that I went through. So I was very pleased that Shiv got that. The other thing I wanted to mention as teaching youth yoga in high school settings is how much the youth appreciated gentle yoga and the rest aspect, the deep relaxation, the muscle relaxation, the visualizations, and just really the aspect of rest, how in our go world, and lifestyle, that rest is not valued or discounted. And from my own students in high school, the last 2 years, the number one thing that they talk about, that they love about their yoga practice, is not doing a headstand or shoulder stick or something, complex, but actually just having the space and the safe comfort teacher that they trust, being amongst each other as peers and being able to rest. So I just wanted to share that. The youth have spoken, and I think there's many benefits they have. So thank you, everybody, and congratulations on all of your yoga teacher training experiences.
Thank you. Any closing thoughts, Mona, and take it from here?
Yeah, I think, I'm also in a similar boat in that Avni is my daughter. She's also on this call, and she's one of the panelists, and she's pretty much grown up with yoga. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been with Yoga Bharati for a long time. I always tell Ashwini ji, who's the director of Yoga Bharati, it's completely undervalued. Yoga Bharati has so much to offer. The teachings that come out of this particular organization and the heart that goes behind it is extremely undervalued. So this webinar for us is, we're trying to also get out there, and please share. As teens, parents, please share. I mean, this really is the need of the hour, is what we look at it as, is it's gonna help balance so much of which is type A aggressive, kind of, we're losing that human connection. So, to be able to experience that and also share with Avni and see what training she has received and tools she has received as well, which will take her through these stressful years, through college and beyond. There's a level of, it's a blanket, I call it. It's a blanket. It's a floor. It's both, to be able to hold up, but also provide a warm blanket over and say, hey, you have something that's going to be there with you forever. So the benefits are exponential once you start. And you just have to dive in. The yoga teacher training class is a commitment. Even if you haven't really done much yoga before, but you go into the youth yoga teacher training class as a teenager, you're going to get so much out of it. So, you know, don't be shy and think, hey, I haven't done any yoga. It's okay. The tools, it's almost a condensed version of taking 4 years of yoga classes in a summer as well. And then other options are there as well, the workshops, which will be held over the summer. So please join.
Thank you, everybody. And Mona, thank you so much for your fantastic wisdom being shared, guiding all these young, little wisdom-filled youth here. I just wanted to announce the courses that we have and classes that are coming up. We have youth workshop, 2 classes per week. It's also mentioned, it's on the website, and we might add a 3rd class if we get enough people, but we have right now one on weekend and one on weekdays, weekday, as far as classes are concerned. This is a workshop for the summer, and this is for teens. And we also have youth teacher training, which is going to be beginning this coming weekend. So if anybody is interested in that, any of the parents are interested, it was a very, very beautiful panel, and I enjoyed every time I hear youth on this panel. It feels so fulfilling. I'm very, very happy that we were able to come together and share some of our experiences, and we'll do more of these you know, in the coming months. So go ahead and be with us, sign up for our newsletters, and you know, when you see email, we don't send too many of them. Just simply glance at the newsletter, and if you find something interesting, forward it to your friends, your families. This is how our word of mouth is spread very much. I mean, our marketing is mainly word of mouth. So be the ambassadors, and this is how we are able to sustainably grow, as opposed to, you know, pour money over social media advertisements and things like that. As Mona said, we are severely undervalued. Help us to be valued, if not overvalued, valued. Okay, thank you so much. Namaste. We are here for any questions. I'll stop the recording now.